2 Samuel chapter 8, verse 15. Here beginneth the reading of God's holy word. And David reigned over Israel, and David executed judgment and justice unto all his people. The word of the Lord for the people of God. You can take your seat. And so we begin a new theme, Kingdom Defenders. Still the same series, Kingdom Design, the life and legacy of David. And I want to minister from the sermon topic today, Kingdom Increase. Kingdom Increase. Church, it must be noted that when you are walking in obedience to God, you are bound to experience kingdom increase. Throughout the Word of God, we read accounts and see that when servants of God obeyed God, there was unusual increase which they experienced. Unusual. I can't help it but park there and say that in 12 years of being a pastor independent, it's unusual increase that we've experienced. It's quite marvelous. Well, Abraham moved out of his father's city, and he looked for another city. Hebrews 11:10 says, "For he looked for a city which hath foundations, whose builder and maker is God." Now, when Abraham got to that city, God showed him increase. I need you to get that. Every time God showed people land, every time he introduced them to new land, he would then show them increase. He gets you to, watch this now, he gets you to a new place and shows you increase. Genesis 13:14 through 17, listen to it. And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now thine eyes and look from the place where thou art northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it, and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto thee. God rewards with kingdom increase. How about Esther? Her former status was that of being an orphan. Then, because she finally, I said finally, obeyed God, she was queen, the queen who saved the day. Esther 4:16, it says, "Go gather all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise, and so will I go unto the king, which is not according to the law." See, I better not stop there and park there. Not today. Not today. "And if I perish, I perish." In order to save the nation, she had to move from the law. In order to save the nation, she had to move contrary to what the law had stated should be. Because she obeyed God, the increase was hers. Esther 8:7 says, "Then King Ahasuerus said unto Esther the queen and to Mordecai the Jew, Behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him they have hanged upon the gallows, because he laid his hand, Lord have mercy, upon the Jews." God will give you what your enemy has possession of. All those that speak against you in the power and of their authority cannot keep up with you when God's power and authority is upon you. I don't know, but I've kind of gotten comfortable with that, in that, God, you know my end from my beginning. And therefore, God, as I obey you, there's no way that I cannot fall into kingdom increase. And the thing is, church, it's a matter of faith. Sometimes you may not see it right in front of you, but that's when God is trusting you to step out anyway, to move out anyway, to see what the end shall be. Church, the Bible is replete with examples of those who obeyed God and were blessed. Might I add here that it was not the genius of one, the beauty of another or the strength. See, I'm not the dumbest person. But it's not my intelligence. It's not my creativity. Come on now. That has gotten us to where we are. It is because we are walking in obedience that unfolds the blessings of God. And that's why you can never park it at a person. Because if that person goes wrong, God has another person in place because he has a place for you to go. And he needs a person to take you there. And so even the strength of our David, the battle skills of our David, it was not that caused results of increase. It was always that they obeyed God. Can I tell you that when it doesn't make any sense, obey him? That when the calculations don't really calculate how you figure they should, obey him. Church, if you want to experience the blessings of the Lord that maketh rich and addeth no sorrow, then you too must obey. You got to obey God no matter what the setup or the situation is. Just obey. This is where we find David today. Recall now that David wanted to build a house for God. You remember that? He wanted to build God a house. God built the world. He would build God a house. But God turned that desire around and said that he, God, would build David a house. I'm so glad that what God says, God secures. I'm so glad that what God establishes out of his mouth, he executes in front of a cloud of witnesses. David is about to experience what God said. David is about to experience the overflow of the blessings of God. So let's check out this story today as we look at the following 3 points. Point number 1, subdue. Subdue. Point number 1, subdue. Point number 2, salute. Salute. And then point number 3, sonship. Sonship. So let's look at it. Point number 1, subdue. Verse 1 reads, "And after this it came to pass that David smote the Philistines and subdued them. And David took Metheg-Gamma out of the hand of the Philistines." In the Bible, hear me, church, God has a law of first mention. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. In other words, you and I must pay attention to what God says first. Why is it, or what is it that God names or mentions first in a list of things? In thinking about this verse 1, I got excited. Parked there. So, that made my point number 1 very long. So some of you are going to get suspicious in about 25 minutes. Number 1 is very long because of this verse. For here, God mentions first those uncircumcised Philistines. Why is this important or exciting? Well, this tells me several things. A, your arch enemy remains your arch enemy. I am not so godly. I am not so anointed that after 12 years, people still can't, they love me. They still can't stand me. That's okay. What else does this verse say? B. If God calls you to whip your enemies the first time, then God, Lord have mercy, is able to cause you to defeat your enemy each and every time. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. And then C, it also tells me that it is clearly God and his sovereign power and authority that grants the victory to David. See, I got to keep on saying that. It's not by my might, nor is it by my power. It's by the Spirit of God. I can't get it twisted. I can't get confused on that. That because God allowed me to be victorious before in the past, that I can dare say, well, I got this now. God, I know how to do this, God. Okay, God, I'm well trained now. Leave this up to me. No, each and every time, at each battle, I've got to say, God, do it again. And maybe now's a good time for me to encourage somebody. Catch this, go ahead. That we are in a season, Shekinah, of do it again. That even though the battle is in front of us, even though the battle, the mystery, it's all there, that we, by the right that God has done it before, we can go to God and say, God, do it again. God, when they say no, God, you had a yes before, God, do it again. God, when they say that it cannot be done, well, God, I'm going to stand on your word because I know that you can do it. Do it again. It's not David's skills, it's God's sanction. I love it when God sanctions something. When he says it's so, in the presence of somebody else's no. See, I got it. You like that one, Brother Kenny? You like that one? That wasn't in my notes. It is God that decided that those Philistines were not going to come nigh David's dwellings. Now, I took a close look at this verse. I told you this verse is something. I took a close look at verse 1 and knew that it spoke even more. For there is a specific mention of a particular place, city, in Philistine. Why? Why this place? Okay, I gotta take it before I go into this. Woo-wee. I gotta take something right here. All right. So the name of the place, the city, is Methagama. Methagama. And it means bridal of the mother city. Okay. Church and study, I found out that there were about 20 Philistine cities. 20. Yet this particular city is the one mentioned. Why? Because it's the bridal. Let me help you out. The bridal, oh, mercy, is what you put. Help me out here, Deacon, please. Man, this thing's heavy. The bridle is what you're going to put around. I hope this is the direction. The horse got the reins. That's the reins will be. This here, they would hook up to the mouth, to the bit. Right? So this city, oh, turn it the right way because you know what got horse people going to be watching. Okay. Anyway, this is the bridle. This is the rein structure that hooks up to the bridle, the bit in the horse's mouth. God is saying, the city I want you to defeat is the strongest horse. The city that I want you to defeat is the bridle of the mother. In other words, I'm going to let you control this one city. See, when you beat up the mother city, when you control and have authority over the beast of the mother city, every other city knows you better not mess with me. See, God don't give you no victory over some mamby-pamby little person. No, God gonna put you up in front of the big dudes, the big people. And God gonna say, they think you're little. but you're a bridle in their mouth. And you're going to control them instead of them controlling you. And so God clearly mentions this city first because he wants us to understand that he takes authority over the strongest thing, over that which believes they have authority over you. And by doing so, you now can capture all the other cities. Once you beat up the bully, nobody else comes after you. And so the bridle is the headgear. I looked it up. The headgear used to control a horse, consisting of buckled straps, you saw it, to which a bit, that's it, and reins are attached. The bridle includes both the headstall that holds the bit that goes in the mouth. Can I stop here and tell you, God is about, Lord have mercy, to control, I hear you, Holy Ghost, the mouth of your enemy. I'm telling you, elders, I don't have that in my notes, but I'm feeling it. That every tongue that rises up against you, every enemy that has something to say to you, that God is about to put a bit in their mouth, and you will have authority over what they say, and what they say shall not come to pass. The bit goes in the mouth of the horse, and the reins that are attached, they're attached to the bit. In other words, a bridle is used to control a beast. What's your beast? What you need God to put a bridle on? The beast could normally take you out. However, God has it so that the bit in the mouth of this enemy city and the reins now are under your control, and you defeat something, watch this, that would normally defeat you. What is it that normally takes you out? Takes you out of praise, takes you out of worship, takes you out of that desire. You're here. You know, I can pick out 5 of you right now. You're here, but you ain't felt it yet. You ain't felt God yet. You ain't felt his presence yet. And so you got to understand whatever that is that caused you to miss out on the Judah praise and miss out on getting to Hebron, well, that happens to be the thing that you need to take the reins of. Take it back. Take your reins back. Take your situation back. So apparently, this city, Methagama, was a brute of a city. Once this city is controlled, all other cities will be no real issue at all. Oh, I don't know if you've ever had a giant. The bigger they come, the harder they fall. You know, at one time I used to kind of weep. I used to kind of, be like, I don't want to fight this. I don't want to deal with this. But Mother De Silva, I learned that when God allows you to go through and to be in battle with the biggest Goliaths, the biggest enemies, that God is saying there's something bigger in you, that you can handle the situation. And so it's not a matter of how big you are, how strong you are. It's a matter of if you're obeying God, then God has already given you the victory over everything that wants to defeat you. With God, you will win. So once this city is under control, all the other cities will be no issue. Perhaps I should now tell you, I should tell you the common name. Oh, Lord, we're going to have church right here, director. I should tell you the common name of the city. It is the city of Gath. Yeah, you got that? You got that? You got that? Gath. Where Goliath is from. Or was from. Gath. Where Goliath, the giant, and his 4 brothers were from. Church, let me tell you something. That when you are experiencing the favor of God, God will cause you to place a bit in the mouth of your enemy, in the mouth of your giants will come under control. I don't know who I'm talking to, but I'm telling you that this week in your workplace, every giant is coming down. Every giant is coming down. They're coming down. I'm telling you. Call them Goliath. Call them what you want. The harder they come, the harder they fall. The bigger they come, the harder they fall. The taller they come, the harder they fall. You will defeat your Goliath. God said so. God said so. He said, I won't take you to verse number 2 until you understand the full effect of verse number 1. And verse number 1 declares that whatever enemy, whatever giant, whatever fornication has come against you, that God has given you the authority by his might, by his mouth, that they shall come down. Yes. Yes. Oh, come on, Sister Bianca. Come on, darling. God has given you 5 smooth stones. 1 to take out Goliath. And 4 just in case his brothers are that dumb that they will come against you. Understand, God has given you the ability to conquer, and that you will not come under. City of God, take your seat, people of God. God will cause you to subdue that which desire to subdue you. You will not be overtaken. No, you will overtake. Look at this. Watch this. I didn't have this, but I hear it. You will overtake the overtaker. Shamana. Not only will you overtake, but you will overtake and subdue. That's important. See. Come here, Mother Ross. Come here. Stand here. See. Face that wall right there. I want to pretend I'm under that. Anyway, I can overtake Mother Ross and be on my way. Deaconess Julie, God just don't want you to overtake. Stay there. He wants you to overtake and subdue. You hear me? You hear me? He wants this thing to become confrontational. That what you wanted to happen over me, you're going down. I will subdue you. Huh? That's why we're kingdom defenders, you know. Ain't no time for no mamby-pamby Christians. No, we are in warfare. And in warfare means that we have an enemy, we have an adversary, but that's okay, church. I told you that God said that we have been commissioned to overtake and subdue. Overtake and subdue. And so, following the defeat of this giant, David defeats city after city. I tend to think that once the giant was gone, the rest was child's play. Kind of seemed like he was having fun in the rest of the verses. Moab falls. David does, well, he saves a particular family. Well, I ain't going to say anything about that yet. That's in the future. But he kills the Moabites. He saves a particular line family. They are grateful, and they bring him gifts. See, that's one thing. If you save a family, you're going to bring you gifts. Like, thank you for sparing us, David. You could have took us out. But since you haven't taken us out, we're going to bring you gifts. All right. Hadad-Ezer, the son of Rehob, king of Zobah, falls in defeat. See that? David recaptures the territory of the Euphrates. From this, King David took about 100 of the chariot horses, and he hoofed them. Now, you know I had to go look up that word, hoofed. I weren't even sure how to pronounce it. He hoofed them. In other words, while he hoofed these horses, he reserved some for himself. Some he didn't. So you're like, Pastor, what you talking about? What you talking about? Okay. Hoofed comes from the word a car. A car, like he accosted them. A car. To pluck up, root up. In study, listen here, Mother. In study, I found out that this meant that David hamstringed the horses. Oh, let me read this because I read it so well. He hamstringed the horses. You don't mind if I'm just sort of having private celebration moments. He made them lame. You mean a big old-headed, big huffing-headed horse? He made them lame. He made them to be, watch this, ineffective. Look, they still looked the part. But they could not do the part they were made to do. God will hamstring your enemies. What they were formed to do, they will not be able to do. The weapons will form, but they shall not prosper. They're going to look a certain way, and they're even going to look at you a certain way. But you just let them look. But I want you to know, Deaconess Richardson, they've already been hoofed. In other words, when they try to do the sprint thing, they pull up. Can't go. Ooh, I can only go so far. I don't know about you, but I like that. That when my enemies, they locate me. We're going to gather with this one. We're going to gather. You ready to gather? Let's go gather. Bam. Huh? How about that? When God stops your enemies in their tracks. How that every plan that they've devised, everything they said that they were going to do to you, everything that they've contrived in their mind, God says, they can think it all they want. I've hooked you up because I've hoofed them. It's a horse, it's a beast. He bridled some, and he hoofed the rest. God, don't play with God. Don't play with God. Verse 5 says, and when the Syrians of Damascus came to succor Hadad-Ezer, king of Zobah, David slew of the Syrians, he's just having fun, 220,000 men. So when people come to help your enemies, you can be like, you too? You ain't got no common sense. You don't see what I did to them? Listen, I'm going to tell you again. When you defeat your Goliath, when you defeat your Philistine, all the rest is child's play. That's why God takes care of the toughest enemy first. So the Syrians, as I said, they came to help Zobah. And David beat them up. So the Syrians are fighting today. The Syrians ended up bringing gifts. Peace offerings to the mighty David. Oh, yeah. When you survive the demise, eventually they start bringing you gifts. Eventually you're not that woman anymore, that girl anymore. They bring you gifts. From verses 6 through 9, we see that David took from the cities he defeated, he took their shields of gold and brass. I'm going to move to point 2. Point 2. 9 and 10, it reads, when Toi, king of Hamath, heard that David had smitten the host of Hadad-Ezer, then Toi sent Joram, his son, unto King David to salute him. I'll speak to you now. Salute him and to bless him, because he had fought against Hadad-Ezer and smitten him For here that Esau had wars with toy. And Joram brought him vessels of silver and vessels of gold and vessels of brass. Oh, mercy, I'm in it so much, I'm going to skip past that. Look, I mentioned the first city. I talked about Hall. Okay. Silver, gold, and brass. Where am I at? Okay. Now, Toi, king of Hamath, was grateful to David for subduing his enemy neighbors, the Syrians. And so he brought David gifts. You know, when you want to get on somebody's good side or stay on their good side, best to bring them a gift. It's just common sense. It just makes all the sense in the world. Surprise me. Something I wasn't expecting. Jingle bells, jingle bells. You know, that just came to me. Pressure. Watch this, watch this. When you are grateful, you bring gifts. You don't bring harsh words, criticism, and the like. You bring gifts of gratitude. The gifts represented the best of what Toi had. While David destroyed, watch this, their gods of gold. He destroyed their small g gods. Ooh, this can help me out right here. So I'm not going to play with your gods. I'm not going to, you know, I put up a Facebook post and somebody said, I play at all churches. I don't care what they believe. See, I don't mix gods and doctrines. David destroyed their gods, little small g of gold. And David took, watch this now, this thing. David took their vessels, watch this, and repurposed them and dedicated them to the use of in God's house. Might I say here that the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the people of God. That's what happened. That God will use Gentile vessels and bring them, Lord have mercy, into his house and remake them unto vessels of honor. Is this not what God did for you and for me? I was a vessel of dishonor. But God, by his grace, by his mercy, he took me and made something beautiful out of my life. I'm not a Jew. I ain't going to pretend to be a Jew, a black Jew, or a Hebrew Jew. I'm Bermudian. I'm a Gentile. But because of God's mercy and grace, he said, listen, as long as you lay down your small g's, I'm going to take you. I'm going to take you, woman of gold, you man of gold. I'm going to take who you are, and I'm going to just yield yourself to the potter. Some people don't know how to, God, I'm going to be on the potter's wheel. Going to get dizzy. Sometimes I'm just not going to know where I am. It's going to seem kind of dizzy. But God, as long as your hand is on the potter's wheel, I'm going to let you do your will. And God, repurpose me. My God, change my natural inclination to the purpose that you want. But change who I am and make me who you want me to be. Repurpose me. That's what he did. This is why, now listen to this. This is why you cannot aim to be perfect or get it together before you come into the house of God and join in the work of God. That's not what God does in the Bible. He takes vessels of dishonor, calls them into his midst, and then he shapes them. He trains them. He molds them. So, quite contrary, you bring who you are and watch God work, Lord have mercy, work on you and make you to become a vessel fit for the master's use. So don't tell the pastor, I ain't there yet. Where? I'm not ready. God takes unready vessels. See, because he can use an unready vessel, because when you do get ready, you will know, well, I know I didn't do that. You will know that God did it. So when we take you out of the picture, because you have failed in the past. You have not met the standard in the past. But now, here you are in God's house, and all sorts of things are going on. God is using you. That proves that it's not about you. It's about God's will for your life. And that's why you've got to subject yourself to his will, to his way. It's a beautiful thing. You bring who you are and watch God work on you. If I come into the house of God and I've already got it made, I will be no use to the church, because nobody's going to be able to tell you what to do. Nobody's going to be able to give you advice because you know everything. Listen, Pastor, Dr., Reverend Maria Antoinette Seaman, I am learning day by day, week by week, year by year, how to do this thing that he's called me to do. Because it's the moment that I think I got this. It's the moment God will say, really? Yeah, he will. Because watch this now. He will share his glory with no one. So when somebody says something wonderful to you, wonderful to me, God, you get the glory. God, thank you. And God, you get the glory. Just settle it in your heart that without God, I will be wretched. I'm going to tell you something, church, and you better believe it, that if it were not, God said, let me save that girl by time she hits 7. Because if not, I will be a hellish person in the island of Bermuda. I don't know what I will be involved in, but it will be something criminal, bringing in a whole lot of money. Because that's just the way I'm wired, that whatever I do it well. And so God said, bring her in quick at the age of 7 to captivate her mind, to change her DNA. Because if she grows up in the island of Bermuda, instead of being a preacher, she'll be a politician, and she'll get away with whatever she can. I'm telling you, I know. I've got favor of influence over my life. And God told me this week, he said, that's why you can't be in politics. Carry the government on your shoulder, because your standard is my standard. So God, he calls us because he knows I've got to shape her. I've got to shape him. That's why the greatest thing that we can do, church, is yield ourselves, a living sacrifice. God, if you've got to burn, put me on the altar, God. Change me again. Remake me again. Yes, I messed up, but God, I want to do your will. That's why God loves David. Who messed up more than David? No one. Nobody. A murderer, a thief, a liar. Took advantage of the anointing, but he still turned around, got on his knees, and said, God created me a clean heart and renew a right spirit within me. Hallelujah. Renew a right spirit. Make me new, God. God, I yield myself to the potter's wheel again. So the enemy would have you to think that Shekinah Worship Center has too high of a standard and is only looking for perfect people. The devil is a liar. We are striving every time we meet, and we will accept whoever God brings in, because if God did it for me, he'll do it for you. He'll do it for you. He'll do it for you. Fit for the master's use. That takes me to my point number 3, sonship. Sonship. You know, why did God allow for this massive victory in verse 1? Why has David easily defeated all these people? Why have all these cities and their leaders said, I honor you, David, with gifts of gold and silver and brass. Why? David, is it just for you? David, is just so that you can get the big hair? And so David, so they can say that you did all this? David, is this about you? Well, I'm going to tell you no. No. It's about three. Sonship. Sonship. Oh, God. 13. And David, look at this. And David get him a name when he returned from smiting of the Syrians in the valley of Salt, being 18,000 men. Everybody, Time magazine. David was the man of the year for 15 years. Huh? Church, this verse is pivotal right here because it solidifies what God said that he would do. The only reason, see, we gotta make sure David's aware. The only reason that David you see that, G-A-T, get him a name was because God had spoken that he will make his name great and establish his house. So we don't show off. We celebrate. But we don't lose our mind. The only way to establish a house is to invest in the legacy of that house. In other words, the greatness of who you are today should be based on who you come from and what you come through. Dad, stand up, Daddy. Stand up. You don't, it's my dad. You don't know him like I know. One of my favorite stories that I hear him talk about, I think it's the most endearing one to my heart, is how much he loved his mother. Right? And he was young. My dad was young when my grandmother died. How old were you, Dad? She died when you were about 17, 16 years old. He was a mama's boy. Mama's boy. And when he talks about his mom, so I'm not going to let him do it in front of you all, he cries every time. There's a love connection in his legacy that's after his mom. So God allows me to come out of his loins. Stand up, mother. Come in so the camera can catch you because you're probably hiding there mostly too. Out of his loins is a certain type of love that he had for his mama. And so he chose this woman, and she is my mother. So there is a certain kind of love that I have for my mama. Let me tell you, I'm honest. I want Jesus to come as soon as possible. I want Jesus. I want the rapture to happen. Because I never want to experience what my father experienced when his mom died. See? So I preach this thing to win people, especially my family, hey. Because I'm kind of like, come quickly, Lord Jesus, but I got all these relatives going to hell. I don't understand. I'm going to help somebody, I don't understand at funerals how you love your Christian mother so much or your Christian grandmother so much, but you won't change your ways in order that you're going to see them. That don't pass it with me. So after the funeral, and y'all back to your smoking and drinking and cussing and all that, I'm like, you didn't love them as much as I love my mama. I ain't committing no purposeful sin. I may go wrong here. I ain't committing nothing and taking no chance of not being with my mama in eternity. Come here, Dad. Come here, Dad. See, the legacy of it. Listen, let me help you. I ain't looking for no money from my parents. I'm not looking for one rare penny from my parents. We place too much in money. But the character, the consistency, money can't buy it. And what we've done to this generation of children is told them, go after the money, go after the money. Do everything on a Sunday. Practice on a Saturday. Forget God because you're going to get a scholarship. Money. This is the legacy. This is the legacy right here. Thank you, Mom and Dad. This is the legacy. See? It's a spiritual legacy. David ain't talking about, I'm going to hand to my sons the next battle. No. God didn't say he's going to build a battle for his sons. He said he's going to build a house. So in order for God to build the house for the sons of David, God has to allow David to be victorious in battle over these cities. Because David, you can't build my house. You got the bloody hands. But your sons are not going to battle like you. So their hands are going to be clean. Shaman say, hey, this is rich word, guys. God's plan is in full effect because his end is what is being established. So the only way to establish a house is to invest in the legacy of that house. In other words, the greatness of who you are today should be based on where you come from. And the greatness of who your children are and shall become will be based on what you have done and what they will do. And it continues from generation to generation. I'm going to give you this one thing, and then I'm going to move on from this point out of Seaman. So I marry a man. Thank God for that. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. So anyway, and look, God does all things with me young, 15. 7 and a little bit after I got saved. That sounds really something, isn't it? 7 years and a little bit after I got saved, I'm at Ruth Seaton, and I look and I see the back of this guy's head. Because I think at Ruth Seaton, had you started coming heritage worship? You were there? Yeah, it must have been. Well, I just peeped him out. 15. 7 years. God knits me to him. Right? Since I didn't come from a whole lot of money, he got to have at least enough money. Because he married me, I didn't have no money. Wanted to marry me at 18. My daddy told him, no, you got to wait another year.
So true.
So true, it's true. But I'm going to tell you something. Not only have I inherited a great moral and godly heritage and witness, God lines me up with a man. Watch this. Now, this is going to blow your mind. He never heard me say this, but I know him, I can say it. This man has a heart like his mother. I know the man. Tender. He's the one that looks the most like his mother, too. Don't want nobody get hurt. Mr. Peacemaker. Everything going to be all right. I got a daughter like that. I'm going to fix everything. Don't ruffle them. Everything going to be fine. Him, not me. I'm the troublemaker. You know me. Post it, say it, video, interview it. God balances us. But watch this. He builds for me that which I had not inherited physically. And every time I stop at number 7, I remember the day you found out it was going to be number 7? Oh, yeah. Because he knows how I am with 7s. Oh, he was so proud. Huh?
They held off telling me what the number would be.
They held off telling him what the number would be. Until it was actually done.
Yes.
And he knew that his wife, we're just coming up there, Johnny come lately, to this neighborhood. All these houses are there. And yet, it's sealed that it's number 7. 7 Shekinah rest. Oh, it better be some perfect glory in there somewhere. Huh? Then he knows, so he puts 7 arches. The man wouldn't care if it was 1 arch. But it's got a wife. So he puts 7 arches. Once in a blue, I go around the neighborhood, and I just look up, and I go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 and then 3. What am I trying to tell you? I'm really trying to tell you the mindset of God. I don't just do anything to do it. You marry young. I know who I was. You don't know who, Sister Brown, you're laughing at me. Sister Brown's laughing at me. You don't know who you are till around 25. Lord of mercy. Wake up out of la-la land. And what I had to realize was that God connects me with somebody. Watch this. I'm going to help somebody who's married. He connects you with somebody not for love or lust, but for legacy. Thank you, Elder. Thank you for my house. Built it himself. And so this setup, I'm taking you somewhere now. These 3 girls of ours. By rights. I said by rights. Their choice now. They should be lining up with, well, not one of them. She ain't graduated yet. The other 2 should be lining up eventually with somebody who has something to give them. See, oh, I'm sorry. Did I say something that was like illegal for a black person to say? Because it's really kingdom. That whatever you get, watch this, you build upon. That's all I say. Wherever you are, you make sure that your next generation, your next set of seed experiences better than what you had. That's all I'm saying. And this is what God does with David. David, you're going to have to battle. You're going to have to fight giants. You're going to have to just be a man that's going to know of the sword. But that's all right. I'm going to bring you, I'm going to come, through you is going to come a man, not of sword, but of song. The songs of Solomon and other sons. Why? Because your children should not have to fight what you had to fight for. Yeah. Church, God desires that the next generation always build on what each prior generation has done. Build it. Don't break it down. Build it. Don't belittle it by ignoring it. Build it. Don't bring it to an end, making a shame that which your foreparents believed in. My standard's the same, you know. One way or the other, Daddy, my standard is the same. If he ain't better than your daddy, don't bring him to my front door. I'm so high. See, that's the problem. We just settle for anything. Their faith should grow from generation to generation. It should not stop with you and your children. God desires sonship, that's what we're talking about, or heritage and legacy. God desires that your spiritual DNA is strengthened, not watered down. So therefore, at the many victories of David, God shows us something. Things must get in order. 14, 15. And he put garrisons. Oh, Maria. And he put garrisons in Edom. He defeated them, put garrisons there. Garrisons. Talk about it. Throughout all Edom put he garrisons. And all they of Edom became David's servants. That's another reason. See, I'm not going to name because some of the places you may work. But I was at the Barclays saying, I'm not just working for anybody. I am not being on anybody's plantation. I was saying that at Barclay. 1 West, 2 West. I don't know if you remember Dr. Woods, but one time, I don't know if you were in the conversation or if it was an assembly. And they said, I don't know how I experienced this. They said that, and I've got my work academy sisters here, but let me tell you what they said anyway. They said to the assembly, they said, while you're here working and studying and being groomed, let me tell you the mindset of how the work academy speaks to their students. They train them to be the bosses. They train, you remember that? See that? I don't forget things, you know. It might have been 1 West or 2 West, but off of that, and Roots came on too. Kunta Kinte. Oh, really? Really? Ray Russell's daughter? I don't think so. We beat them up in netball, we beat them up in softball, and I'm just saying. Rest be K now. I told you Jesus was a Barclayite. I told you. It's a mindset. That's why I invest in you here, you know. When I see you're capable of doing something, I go, let's go, another winner. Let's go, another winner. Because I will prove that God's house, hear me, somebody, is full of gold, full of vessels unto honor. That if you desire it, if you place your care and attention to it, God will get you to that place that he has specifically designed just for you. And so he put garrisons there in Edom. And they of Edom became David's servants. That's why. And the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. Right? You hear the Lord's preserving him, right? Not his lieutenants, not his foot soldiers. 15, and David reigned over Israel, and David executed judgment and justice unto all the people. So the garrisons, let me get back there. The garrisons are for protection. All right, what's a garrison? Garrison comes from the word netzib, and it means a prefect. At school, the prefect should be a garrison. They should be protecting the environment of that school. A military post. Barracks. That's your garrison. There is a physical protection. So not only are you spiritually protected, but God says, I'm going to set up. Yeesh. I felt good about that point. I said, let me wind this down. I'm getting to 2,000 words, but I felt pretty good. I felt pretty good. Maria, there's a garrison surrounding you. Hedge. You are hedged in with a wall of protection. And child of God, you are no different than me. That as you obey God, God has a fence of protection, a garrison around you. 16, and Joab, the son of Zeruiah, was over the host, and Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, was recorder. I'm a Miss Dunn. I'm a Miss Dunn. I felt laughing to myself. Hey. The overseer. I kind of laughed. Man, what was down the pipeline for sale? I just laughed at people who laughed. In this verse, see, Joab, the son of Zeruiah, was over the host. He's the overseer. And then Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, is the recorder. The overseer keeps oversight over all. All right? Not into the nitty-gritty details, but over all has oversight. Now, Joab, this is the overseer Joab. Joab, his name means Jehovah is Father. Surely a man committed to please God in all that he does deserves to be and will be a good overseer. And then the recorder is, he is Ahilud, and his name means child's brother. Very important, child's brother. In other words, as a big brother. Big brother's watching you. Isn't that? That's the one you want to soak the bully on. Or you want to, yeah. My big brother's going, you wait till my big brother comes. And this is the recorder. That he will record all that is happening. He would not miss a thing because he's a good brother. 17, and Zodak, the son of Ahitub, and Ahimelech, the son of Abiathar, were the priests. And Zariah was the scribe. I'm just saying, I'm showing you how God sets up order. So after he takes care of the natural, God sets up the spiritual. They are carrying out the order in God's holy place. They will sacrifice for the people, and the scribes will keep count. You always got to have a math. You know, the scribe is like the comptroller. That's all the numbers. Keep count of beings in the house. How many vessels of gold do we have? How many vessels of brass and silver? So everything is in place for the working of the land and the working of the house. Ooh. God gets the land together And then he can set things in order in the house. You know why? And I'm thinking, Holy Ghost has helped me here. Because God will always present to the house something in order. So if things are not in order, God's got to get things in order first so that his house can then take care of that which is in order. And so what is the conclusion of the matter? 18. And Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was over both the Cherethites and the Pelethites. And David's sons, here we go, were the chief rulers. They're not the overseer, they're not the scribe, they're not the priest, but they're the chief. Why did he chief? Because God said that he was going to bless the house of David. And so the conclusion is that David's sons were chief rulers. In other words, God has established now the land, his house, David's house. I got to do that again. I don't want you to miss it. The land, God's house, and then David's house. In other words, this is important. David, your sons are inheriting order. We have a house. We have to decide which child is the money child. Who can handle money house? And we're about 92 and in rocking chairs. I don't need one of them saying, what, you want $10? They better give me $1,000. This man built the house. What? Let me behave, because I can see right now, I'll be going to jail at 92. I'm almost done. Lord, I am. Let me read. I'm going. This is it. So anyway, God gave victories over enemies, and then God set in place the kingdom. God set in place the sanctuary, and then now the crowning impact is that the family will now rule over this land. Oh, that the land of Bermuda, Shaman or Seke, would be set in order by God. The island. The island set in order. Look at it. The island set in order. The church set in order. And then the house is set in order. That's the legacy we want to pass on to our children and our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. Bermuda in order under God. The church in order under God. Then each family in order under God. When we do that, watch this. When we do that, this is vital. You know, because I was reading just a little bit. I've been so busy. But somebody was saying, oh, we need to drop the speed limit. Or these 16, 17-year-olds, we need to take the riding age up to 21. You know, blaming these 16 and 17-year-olds, I don't see them dying on the road. But we want them to be the cop out. Let me tell you something. I like when my 16-year-old got her bike and she's 17. And I ain't got to go town every day with her in the morning in that Harbor Road traffic. Oh, glory be to God. I love it. Once in a blue, you know, ask a favor, beg a favor. Go pick me up something, pick me up a salad somewhere. Hop on that bike and go. I said, thank you, Jesus. And so I'm just speaking on behalf of parents whose children are not 16 yet. I think they should not pass that law. Hey, they're not the ones dying on the street and drunk and drinking and anyway, I'm going to finish this because this is the important fact. This is where I'm going. The island and the church got to be in order so that our sons can inherit a great place and our sons can truly live. Our sons are dying because the home is not in order, the church is not in order, and the island is not in order. There ain't no roads. The roads have been there. I look at me, I said, did the road come up and get them like a monster? The roads have always been there. But it's the spiritual disorder of the island. We have left nothing for them to inherit because we have not placed God first. So as long as God is not God, director, in our lives as he should be in the island of Bermuda, our sons will struggle. Today we look forward by faith to a time of God's people returning to him and fighting his battles and setting up his church in place. We want things in place. That's what this altar call is about.